This is not a story about sex. It's not about fame, not even about money. This is a story about people, ordinary people, trying to be seen in a world that blinks too fast to notice them. A barista, a dropout, a voice behind a screen. People who turn to a platform called Onlyfans, not just to perform, but to connect, to feel real again, to be more than names in a feed, more than ghosts in someone else's inbox. But what happens when the screen starts looking back? What happens when the things you whisper in the dark don't stay in the dark? These 8 stories are true in spirit, if not in name. They come from a place where performance becomes possession, where attention turns to addiction, and where digital shadows start living lives of their own. Some are soft, some are brutal, all are human, and every single one is a warning. This is not about demonizing a platform. This is about what we give away without realizing it. Our time, our face, our voice, our silence. So before you judge these people, ask yourself one thing. Have you ever shared a part of yourself with someone who didn't deserve it? Have you ever whispered into the void and hoped it whispered back? Good. Now dim the lights and listen. Before we begin, take one last deep breath, because after this, things don't go back to normal. We start with a girl in Brooklyn, and a reflection that didn't stay in the mirror. The basement in Brooklyn. I wasn't supposed to end up in a basement apartment, not after clawing my way through 4 years at NYU, working doubles at the cocktail bar in Soho, trying to make rent and relevance in the same breath. But Bushwick was all I could afford after my roommate bailed, and the landlord offered me a charming lower unit for half price. It was the kind of place where paint peeled off like scabs, where you heard everything. Rats in the walls, the train 3 blocks away, your own breath bouncing off the ceiling. Still, I told myself I could make it work. It was temporary, just a phase, like the Onlyfans thing. I wasn't proud of it, but I wasn't ashamed either, at least not at first. After the bar closed during the pandemic and acting gigs dried up, I needed a way to stay afloat. Modeling was always an option. I already had the looks, people said, the smile, the legs. I told myself I'd keep it tasteful, artful, just lingerie, a few soft nudes, maybe some moody black and white sets. At first, it felt empowering. I controlled the narrative, the angles, the lighting. The subscribers came fast, and so did the money. I invested in better gear, ring lights, backdrops, a tripod. My basement became a stage, and I played the character they wanted. Seductive, aloof, always smiling, but only with my eyes. I kept thinking, I'm still me, right? This doesn't change who I am. But I guess, when you stare into a lens long enough, you stop noticing when your reflection starts staring back. The first weird thing was subtle. A subscriber messaged me, raving about a new video I'd supposedly posted, one with me in a red lace robe, whispering their name like I knew them personally. But I hadn't uploaded anything that day. I checked my account, and there it was. The video existed, same lighting, same angle, same backdrop, but it wasn't me. I mean, it looked like me. Same mouth, same voice, same robe, but her movements were wrong. Too smooth, too slow, like someone puppeteering a memory of me. Her eyes didn't blink. Her lips twitched into a smile that never reached her face. It made my skin crawl. I deleted the video, blamed it on some glitch or maybe a hack, and tried to forget. But deep down, something had already shifted. The videos kept coming. They'd upload while I slept, each one slightly different. Sometimes she wore what I had worn to bed the night before. Sometimes she said things I had only thought. I know what you want, Brian, she whispered in one. You've been watching me for years, haven't you? I locked down my account, changed every password, bought a new phone, but each morning, a new upload, a new version of me. The subscribers loved it. My following doubled. Some even messaged, begging for her to come back when I didn't post for a day. I began filming myself while I slept, just to be sure. I needed proof it wasn't me, and that's when I saw it, the shadow. A feminine figure standing motionless in the corner of my room, not moving, not breathing, just watching. The footage only caught her for a second, right before the camera cut out. I checked the SD card, intact. The camera, full battery. I tried again the next night, same result. Static, silence, and a presence I could feel even when I was awake, like something was waiting for me to acknowledge it. I finally broke down and knocked in my upstairs neighbor's door. Andrew, mid-30s, quiet, an artist who painted abstract bodies and listened to Miles Davis at odd hours. We'd never spoken much beyond nodding in the hallway. I thought he'd laugh at me, but he didn't. When I told him what was happening, his face drained. He said he'd seen someone in my apartment too, someone pacing by the window when I was supposed to be out. He assumed I had a visitor, but he had footage. He'd filmed one of my late night performances through his window around 2:07 a.m. It was me, my face, my body, whispering into the camera, eyes wide, expression vacant. But I remembered that night. I was passed out on the couch, wine bottle still in hand. When I asked him why he filmed me, he looked away, said he just wanted to make sure everything was okay. But there was something in his voice, reluctance, maybe guilt. He handed me a flash drive and said, "You should see this one." The file was dated 3 nights ago. Same angle, same timestamp. Only this time I wasn't just performing. I was smiling into the lens like I was talking to it. Not performing for fans. Talking to something. Someone I couldn't see. I left that night. Didn't pack. Didn't think. Just took my purse, wallet, phone. I called a friend in New Jersey and stayed with her for a week. During that time, my Onlyfans account stopped posting. No new uploads, no strange messages. My phone stopped buzzing at night. It felt like a detox, like I was finally waking up. But you can't unsee things. You can't unknow that somewhere, something else might be using your face, your voice, your identity. Especially when you volunteered to give it away in the first place. A few days later, against all better judgment, I logged in again. The homepage had a live stream, already in progress, titled, "She's Back." The screen flickered and there she was, me, or her, sitting in the same red robe I'd left behind. Same room, same lighting. She looked up at the camera and said, clear as day, "Why did you leave, Eliza?" "They missed you." And for the first time, her smile reached her eyes. I deleted the account permanently, wiped every trace from my devices, changed my number, moved across the country. I don't do social media anymore. I don't even take selfies. But every now and then, at night, in an Uber, in a department store mirror, I catch something. A movement, a face, a smile that feels too familiar. And for just a second, I wonder if she's still streaming, if she's still pretending to be me, or worse, if I was the copy all along. Some people say we sell our souls for fame. That's dramatic. But what they don't tell you is how easy it is to give your identity away when you do it one upload at a time. A piece of you here, a gesture there, a wink, a whisper. And then, one day, something else starts whispering back. And if this story gives you chills, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it means you haven't given too much of yourself away. Yet. What if the thing pretending to be you does it better than you ever could? But what if the real horror isn't being replaced? It's knowing someone's already watching and wants more. Much more. Let's meet Marcus. He asked for blood. I always thought I was a private person, quiet, efficient, someone who went to work, kept his head down, paid bills on time. I was the guy who never posted selfies, who used burner accounts to browse Reddit, who kept his camera covered with tape even during Zoom meetings. So it felt ironic, maybe even a little pathetic, how fast I got pulled into the world of Onlyfans. My name is Marcus Deacon. I'm 28, and until last year, I was a software engineer in Salt Lake City with a pretty solid job, a forgettable apartment, and a girlfriend who used to call me emotionally hygienic. That was her way of saying I never let anyone get too close. Maybe that's why, when I lost my job and she moved out in the same week, I found myself needing something, anything, to feel seen. At first, I subscribed to a few pages, nothing extreme. Aesthetic creators, some fetish stuff, mostly harmless. It was control I liked the most, the ability to curate what I saw, who I talked to, and how much of myself I exposed. But then I wondered, what if I flipped it? What if I created it instead of consumed? It started as a joke. I made a profile under a fake name, no face shown, just POV videos, voiceovers, glove play, subtle dominant stuff. I never thought anyone would care, but the anonymity worked. It gave people permission to project their fantasies onto me, and the messages rolled in. You sound like my ex. You remind me of my first dom. I want to obey your voice. And then came Patron Z's 3-0. He wasn't like the others. His tips were massive, hundreds of dollars for a minute-long audio, but his requests were precise, detailed. The first one was simple: bite the apple and spit it out, slowly. I thought it was symbolic, artsy, whatever. But then he asked for more. Cut the shirt with scissors. Break a raw egg in your hand and stare into the lens. I complied, mostly because the money kept coming. Until one day, the message changed tone. Show pain. I hesitated. I wasn't into that. I wasn't into bleeding for strangers. But part of me wondered, how far would I go? I filmed a clip of me snapping a rubber band on my arm, wincing, breathing heavy. It was stupid, a small sting, but he loved it. He tipped $1,000 that night. That's when the messages escalated. Deeper. Use a pin. Make it last longer. And then the final request. If you don't give me blood, I'll take it myself. I told myself it was just a creepy fan, a troll. But that night, I came home to find a single envelope under my door. No return address. Inside was a Polaroid of me sleeping, taken through the window. I live on the 3rd floor. There's no fire escape. I don't even leave my curtains open. I went straight to the police. They filed a report, gave me a case number, told me to install a camera and be careful. That was it. No patrol, no follow-up. I called Erica, my ex. She's a nurse. Still cared, in that distant way people do when they feel guilty for moving on. I didn't tell her everything, just that someone was stalking me. She came over, made tea, looked at me the way nurses look at patients pretending to be fine. I could tell she wanted to ask about the boxes in the corner, the ring lights, the gloves, the masks, but she didn't. She just said, "Marcus, you look thinner." I hadn't noticed. I'd stopped eating much. My sleep was wrecked. I started dreaming in loops. Faceless figures standing over me, whispering numbers I couldn't understand. One night, I woke up to my phone recording. It was balanced perfectly on the nightstand, camera facing me. I don't remember turning it on. The video was 6 hours long. I watched all of it. I never moved, not once. I just stared at the ceiling, eyes open, not blinking, breathing so shallow it barely registered. At 3:07 a.m., I sat up, looked into the lens, and smiled. I said, "I'm I'm ready. Then laid back down. I don't remember any of it. That's when I deleted the account. I tried to. It wouldn't let me. The password reset failed. The support email bounced. I got a message from patron Z30 despite blocking him. You already said yes. The blood is mine now. I checked my page. New videos were uploading daily. Videos I never shot. They were darker, more violent. The version of me on screen was gone. His eyes were sunken, his skin pale, his voice rasped like something dying slowly. But it was still me, my apartment, my voice, just wrong. I smashed the phone, deleted every app. I stopped going outside. I boarded my windows. For weeks, I thought I was going insane. I called Erica once more, but she didn't pick up. I left her a voicemail, told her not to come over, told her not to look for me. I just wanted this thing to end. But of course it didn't. Because that's the thing about attention. You think you control it, but the moment you give someone access to you, real or virtual, you can't take it back. Not fully. Not ever. The last thing I remember before blacking out was the sound of dripping. Slow, steady, rhythmic. When I woke up, my hands were stained red. There was no wound, no pain, but the sink was full of blood. I checked every cabinet, every corner. No one was there. No one should have been. I looked into the bathroom mirror, and for a second, just a flicker, I saw me, but smiling in a way I never have. I moved out 2 days later, deleted every online trace, burned the clothes I wore in those videos. I don't know if the account still exists. I don't check. I don't want to know. But sometimes, when I walk past alleyways or hear a ping from a stranger's phone, I wonder if someone out there is still watching him, or worse, thinking it's me. You might think this is a cautionary tale about internet safety. It's not. It's about need. The need to be seen. The hunger for validation. The illusion that you're still in control when you start performing. Because sometimes the person who watches you the most isn't a stranger. It's the part of yourself you buried. The part that whispers, hurt me, use me, just don't ignore me. And if you've ever felt that urge to be visible no matter the cost, please stop. Please take a breath. You don't have to bleed to be worthy. You don't have to say yes to the darkness that pretends to love you. If you're still here, still listening, thank you. Stay safe out there. And maybe keep your curtains closed at night. Some give blood, others give identity. What happens when you don't remember giving anything at all? And yet, someone has your face, your voice, your name. You're not being copied, you're being rewritten. Just ask Riley. Subscriber number 666. I didn't set out to be anyone, that's the truth. I wasn't chasing fame or attention or fast money. I was just trying not to disappear. When I dropped out of college, halfway through my second year, the silence hit harder than I expected. One day you're part of everything. Classes, campus groups, late night texts, and then you're not. My name's Riley Thompson. I'm 21. I live in Asheville, North Carolina, and for a while, I thought I could rebuild myself online. Onlyfans wasn't a last resort. It was a reset, a way to become someone else, or maybe finally someone at all. I kept it simple at first. My page was anonymous, no face, just legs, voice, occasional glimpses of skin lit soft and golden. I branded myself as her softness, a persona I made up one night after too many glasses of wine. Subscriptions came in faster than I thought they would. People were lonely. People needed fantasy. I figured as long as I never showed my face, I was safe, separate, in control. But there's a strange thing that happens when strangers begin to know you better than you know yourself. When you start creating, not because you want to, but because they expect you to. And And when your body becomes a product, you start wondering what's left that belongs to you. At first, it was flattering. The attention, the messages, the way people talked to me like I mattered, like I was special. And then one day, it changed. I got a new subscriber, username, user666. His messages were short, blunt. Show your eyes. Say my name. I didn't respond. I didn't like the tone, but he kept tipping. $5, $10, $20 with each message. And then, you already did. I liked it. That stopped me. I checked all my posts. None of them showed my eyes. I never said his name, not once. But when I went back through my content, I found a video I didn't recognize. It was titled, For Him. I clicked play. It was me, my voice, my room. But I didn't remember filming it. I looked straight into the lens, whispered his name, smiled like I knew him. I see you, I said. I see what you want. My heart dropped. I didn't just say his name, I leaned into it, drew it out like a chant. My hands moved the way they never had before, seductive, slow, too confident, too not me. I stared at the screen until my eyes watered. When I checked the upload time, it said 3:33 a.m., a time I never scheduled anything, a time I was always asleep. I deleted the video, I changed my password, logged out of every device, but the next morning, it was back. Different title, For You Again, same face, same eyes, only now, the background was different. The lighting wasn't mine. The camera angle showed more than my room. It showed a hallway, and someone watching from the shadows, a shape, a figure, just outside the door. I asked Malik, my roommate, to check the hallway cam. He's a film student, paranoid about gear, always filming stuff. He pulled up the security feed from that night, and sure enough, at 3:32 a.m., the hallway light flickered. There was no one visibly there, but the camera glitched. Just once, and then the door to my room opened, gently, on its own. Malik paused the footage, rewound, slowed it down. You sure you were in your room the whole time? He asked. I nodded, but my mouth was dry. I didn't remember hearing the door. I didn't remember waking up. The next day I got a package, no return label. Inside was a black USB stick. That was it. No note, no branding. I plugged it into my laptop, hands shaking. One file, a folder titled ME_666. It held videos, 6 of them. Each one showed me doing things I never filmed. Posing, smiling, stripping slowly, calling names I didn't recognize. And then, in the final clip, I looked straight into the camera and said, "You can wear me now." Behind me, a mirror reflected nothing. That night, I woke up to find my account live streaming. I didn't start it. My laptop was shut. But on my phone, the screen showed my page broadcasting in real time. I tapped it open. My breath caught in my throat. It was me, but not now. A version of me, walking down a hallway I didn't recognize. Same body, same voice, different eyes. They were too dark, too knowing. And on the screen, comments flooded in. She's finally letting him in. Subscriber 666 claimed her. This is the real her. I closed the app, turned off my phone, but the stream kept going. The next morning, my subscribers doubled. Messages poured in. So raw, so intense, finally showing the real you. I sat on the floor of my room, knees against my chest, shaking. Malik asked me if I was okay. I wanted to tell him everything. But how do you explain to someone that you're starting to think you're not the one making your content anymore? That maybe you were just the prototype? I deleted the account, wrote a message. This is not me anymore. But the post wouldn't publish. It kept saying, "You must stay, The screen flickered, then another notification. User 666 has sent you a gift. I didn't open it. I moved out of that apartment within the week. Malik helped me pack. He never asked questions, just gave me a long look before I left and said, "You know, whatever that was, it wasn't you, right?" I nodded, but I wasn't sure. It's been 3 months. I live with my cousin now. I don't go online much. No socials, no content. But the other night, I got an email. The subject line read, "New upload from her softness." No sender, no link, just a black and white thumbnail. It showed me staring into a mirror, smiling. Only, I wasn't holding the camera, and the reflection had no eyes. Sometimes I think about the girl I was trying to become, the one I built online. She was confident, sensual, unafraid. But the thing about creating someone stronger than you is, eventually, they stop needing you. If you're thinking of building a persona to feel less invisible, I get it. I do. But make sure you can still recognize the person behind the lens. Because once the crowd chooses their favorite version of you, they won't let you take it back. Not without a fight. And if you've ever felt like your online self is slipping out of your control, please talk to someone. Tell a friend. Don't let silence give it more power. And hey, if this story shook something in you, maybe stick around. I've got more to tell. More stories, more truths that no one ever warns you about. I'll be here, just not at 3:33 a.m. When the screen stops working, the room starts listening, and some doors, no matter how beautiful the house looks, should never be unlocked. Jared found that out in Tampa, the locked room in Tampa. There are certain kinds of houses that don't feel empty, even when no one else is home. You step inside, and the air already knows your name. I should have trusted my instincts the first time I walked into that Airbnb in Tampa. It had everything I asked for. 2 floors, clean walls, blackout curtains, and privacy. I wanted a quiet space to shoot my Onlyfans content, away from my regular apartment, away from noise, away from judgment. The listing said discreet, and I liked that word. It gave me control. Or at least it made me feel like I had it. My name's Jared Milo. I'm 35, and I run a page under the name Dom of Your Dreams. It's not satire. It's not fantasy either. My content's niche. High production value BDSM. Deeply psychological, sometimes poetic, sometimes brutal. I don't fake pain. I script the power, and I take it seriously. So when a fan suggested I rent a new space, somewhere with real atmosphere, I listened. The Tampa house had a long wooden hallway, frosted windows, and a quiet backyard with tall hedges. Ideal for filming. But what really caught my eye was the basement door. Not in the photos. Painted the same color as the wall, sealed shut with 4 bolts and a strange iron latch. My stomach turned just looking at it. I asked the owner about it. Old wine cellar, Mrs. Galvez said. She was the kind of Florida widow you read about. Warm, leathery skin, thick accent, floral moo-moo. She lived in the back house and barely made eye contact. Locked up since my husband passed. He used to collect things. I don't go down there. I don't recommend you do either. She smiled when she said it, but it didn't feel like a joke. I should have walked away. Instead, I asked for the key. She paused for a long second, then told me she'd look for it. That night, I filmed my first session upstairs. Ropes, narration, candlelight. I spoke directly to the camera, breathing slow, eyes steady. Consent is the highest form of love, I whispered, but so is surrender. The shoot felt good, real, like I was making something meaningful again. But when I went to edit the footage, I noticed something strange. A soft knock, barely audible during the final 5 minutes. I scrubbed through. Knock, knock, knock. 3, evenly spaced, from beneath the floorboards. The next morning, a small key arrived and an envelope slid under the door. No note, just brass and old. The kind of key you find in dreams or antique boxes. I stared at it for an hour before going downstairs. The latch clicked louder than I expected. Dust poured out as the door opened. Air so still it felt like it hadn't moved in years. The basement was unfinished. Stone walls, single light bulb. In the center, a steel chair bolted to the ground, leather restraints on each armrest, and in the corner, a tripod. I should have called someone. I should have left. Instead, I recorded. I sat in the chair and hit record, thinking I'd reclaim it, make it mine. A monologue about vulnerability, fear, honesty. I thought it would be raw, powerful, something real for my audience. When I played it back, the camera glitched. My voice warped. My face didn't move in sync. For 5 full seconds, I stared into the lens without blinking, lips curled into a smile I don't remember making. Then a whisper, "Not your chair." I hadn't said it, not in that tone, not with that voice. I stopped filming, went upstairs, showered twice, scrubbed the key, tried to forget. But every night after that, I dreamed of the chair, of being strapped into it, of someone filming from the corner. I woke up sweating, heart racing, convinced I wasn't alone. And the fans, they noticed something. My inbox flooded with messages. Your last post was transcendent. Felt like you weren't acting. Your pain was so real. But I hadn't posted anything new. I checked my page. A new video had gone live, titled simply, "The Room." It showed me in the chair, gagged, struggling, eyes wild. I never shot that footage, but it was me, my scars, my voice, my panic. I watched, frozen, as the camera zoomed in, not on me, but behind me, where a figure stood, holding something, watching. In the reflection of my sweat-slicked skin, I saw her, Mrs. Galvez, smiling. I confronted her the next day. I brought the flash drive, demanded to know if she planted cameras, if she was part of some sick voyeur thing. She didn't deny it, didn't blink, just said, "You boys think you're in control, but this house was never yours." Then she handed me a VHS tape. "This is the first one," she said. "Before we had internet, before we had rules." I watched it that night. Same room, same chair, same restraints, a different man, late 20s, wiry, shirtless, begging, crying. "I didn't agree to this," he said. "I never said yes." The screen cut to black. I left the house the next morning, left the gear, left everything. I deleted the page, but fans kept messaging. "Come back. We miss the real you." Some of them even sent money, tips for content I hadn't made. One user wrote, "She says you'll film again. She says you're not done. It's been 4 weeks. I live out of a motel now. I can't sleep with the lights off. Sometimes I still hear the knocking, 3 short taps against the floor. And sometimes I wake up with bruises on my wrists I can't explain. They say when you play with power, it plays back. I thought I was crafting art, teaching intimacy, building trust. But maybe some rooms were never meant to be opened. Maybe some performances aren't staged. Maybe some platforms don't just let you perform. They let something else perform through you. And if you've ever felt yourself crossing a line for attention, for money, for control, please take a step back. Ask yourself, who's really in the director's chair? Because once you give up the frame, you might not get it back. If you're still watching, still listening, thank you. Stay careful. And if someone offers you a key to a locked door, maybe don't turn it. pain leaves bruises, but some connections leave stains. And even when the camera's off, some voices keep calling, especially at 3 a.m. Kayla heard them first, the 3 a.m. requests. I never meant to become someone people watched in the dark. I just wanted to connect, talk to people, be seen. When I started live streaming on Onlyfans during lockdown, it was more about company than content. I didn't dance or strip or do anything I wouldn't tell my mom about. I whispered affirmations, talked people through their anxiety. Sometimes I'd wear silk robes and light candles, but the vibe was calm, personal. I was a safe space with a good mic. My name's Kayla Nguyen. I'm 27, born and raised in Portland, Oregon. My parents were nail techs who wanted me to become a pharmacist. Instead, I went viral for saying you were enough at 2 a.m. with lo-fi beats playing in the background. I didn't expect to make money, but the tips came in fast. My DMs filled with thank you notes and requests, some weird but mostly sweet. And then, a few months in, the first 3 a.m. message arrived. Can you say my name on stream, please, just once? The name was Joshua Peterson. I thought nothing of it. Responded with a heart emoji and moved on. That night, I said it aloud during my stream, thinking maybe he needed comfort. Good night, Joshua. You're safe now, I whispered. My view count spiked. I felt a small rush of pride. But when I ended the session, I noticed something strange. That message from Joshua, it was gone. No chat history, no tip log. I figured he deleted his account. It happens. But then it happened again. Another name. 3 a.m. exactly. Maya R. Tillman. Same message, same phrasing. Can you say my name on stream? I hesitated, but again, I said it. I don't know why. Maybe I felt responsible. Maybe it felt sacred. Like part of my job was honoring strangers who asked softly. That's what this whole thing was about, right? Human connection, even in the digital dark. It wasn't until the 6th night that I got suspicious. Another name, another 3 a.m. request. This time I looked it up before responding. Eric P. Halter, age 29. He'd gone missing 3 years ago, declared dead last spring. My stomach dropped. I looked up the others. Joshua, Maya, all real, all missing, all presumed dead. I shut my laptop and stared at the wall. My apartment felt too quiet. The candles burned lower than usual. I told Theo, my ex, about it. He used to help me set up lighting before things between us got weird. A photographer, sharp-eyed, skeptical. He laughed at first, called it a coincidence. But then I showed him the stream replays. My voice, saying names of people no longer alive. He didn't laugh after that. They could be using dead names, he said. Some troll pretending to be them. You got weird fans. But I didn't think it was trolling. There was no humor, no provocation, just asking, gently, longingly. I stopped going live after midnight, changed my settings, disabled anonymous messages, but still, every night at 3 a.m., a new request came in. Not through Onlyfans, through my phone. A notification would pop up. You have a voice request. The messages were always audio clips, software, whispered. Say it again. Don't forget me. One night, a new voice said, "Yo, help me cross." I started seeing them too. Not ghosts, not figures in the mirror. Just names. On receipts, in closed captions, in the lines of books I hadn't opened. Once, on the inside of my fogged up bathroom mirror. Say my name tonight. I tried deleting everything. Closed my account, switched numbers, threw away the phone, bought a new laptop, moved across town. But it didn't stop. The new account was somehow already active. Same username, same banner image. A clip I'd never filmed played on the homepage. It was me, sitting in total darkness, whispering names in a language I didn't know. When I blinked, the candle behind me flickered, and someone walked past the frame. Theo came to check on me. He brought Foe and tried to make me laugh. I showed him the account. He watched in silence, jaw clenched. "Did you edit this?" he asked. I shook my head. "I don't even know how it got online." He leaned closer to the screen, paused at one frame. "This shadow, it's holding your camera." Then softer, "That's not your hand." We scrubbed every account linked to my name, every email, every payment method, gone. But at 3 a.m., my phone lit up again, even turned off. The screen read, "You never said goodbye." I started keeping my apartment cold, lights on, TV static playing. I was too afraid to sleep, too afraid to talk aloud. What if my voice was some kind of key? What if, by acknowledging them, I opened something? Or worse, let them in? And yet, part of me missed it. The voice messages, the comfort, the sense that someone, somewhere, needed me. It's a twisted thing, to feel important only when the world feels wrong. But I think that's what some of us chase online. Not validation, just the illusion that we matter. The last straw came when my mom called me. She asked if I was okay, said she got an email from me. Only I never sent one. It said, "Watch tonight's stream, Mom. I'll be saying your name." My blood froze. I packed everything that night, left Portland. I don't stream anymore. I barely speak above a whisper. But I still dream of voices, software, familiar, asking me to speak for them, to remember. And sometimes when I wake up, my throat is sore, my voice raw, as if I've been talking all night. If you've ever felt that craving for connection, even in the loneliest hours, I get it. I really do. But some spaces online don't just store memory, they absorb it, they echo, and sometimes they speak back. So if you ever find yourself online at 3 a.m. and someone asks you to say their name, maybe don't. And hey, if you're still here, if you felt something reading this, thank you. Stick around, okay? I have more to share, but not tonight. Not at 3 a.m. Not every stage has curtains. Some look like bedrooms, some sound like comfort, and some performers forget who they were before the script. Natalie forgot, until the show kept going without her. Her room was a stage. It wasn't supposed to feel like a performance. That's what Natalie kept telling herself. When she first started her ASMR content on Onlyfans, it was meant to be soft, intimate, close-up whispers and delicate tapping sounds, meant to comfort, not arouse. But comfort sells, and so does beauty. And when her subscribers asked for longer sessions, themed rooms, costumes, well, Natalie delivered. And little by little, her bedroom became something else. A set, a stage, a scene. The transformation started small. A velvet backdrop, a circle of LED lights she called the moon, a mic shaped like ears. Then came the blackout curtains, sound panels, a camera mounted above the bed. She even printed out cue cards to keep on her nightstand so she'd know exactly when to pause, when to smile, when to tilt her head and whisper, "I'm still here with you." She said that line so often it stopped sounding like words. Her sister Nina hated it. Every time she visited, she'd stare at the room and shake her head. "You don't even sleep in your bed anymore," she said once. "You sleep on the couch so you don't mess up the set." "That's not normal, Nat." But Natalie just smiled and adjusted a curtain. "It's just work," she said. "It's my studio." Nina didn't press further. She never did. Not since their mom passed. Natalie was grieving in her own way, she told herself. But Natalie wasn't just grieving, she was disappearing. The streams grew longer, 5 hours, 6. Her top fans tipped for live unscripted nights. She'd turn on the camera at midnight and whisper until sunrise. She spoke to them like she knew them, like they needed her, like she belonged to them. And the worst part, she felt real in those moments, seen, wanted, useful. When the streams ended and the lights dimmed, the silence hurt. Then came the night things changed. It was supposed to be a sleep stream, nothing fancy, just Natalie lying on the bed, ambient sounds playing, slow breathing, fingers brushing the mic every so often. When she reviewed the footage the next day, she froze. She was still, too still. For 6 straight hours, she didn't move, not once, not a twitch. Her eyes were closed, but her mouth was slightly parted, lips curling into the softest smile. The weirdest part was the timestamp. At 3:17 a.m., the screen flickered, and for 1 second, just one, her body vanished. A frame skipped, then she reappeared, same position, but facing the opposite direction. Natalie told herself it was a glitch, render in error, anything. But when she uploaded the clip, her fans lost their minds. That was surreal, one wrote. The best stream you ever done. Another said, it felt like someone else was inside you. She tried to laugh it off, told herself not to read too much into it, but she watched that 1 second flicker over and over, and every time it felt like she'd missed something watching from the shadows behind her. She started locking the door during streams. She lit incense, sprinkled salt under the tripod. Superstitious rituals from her childhood she hadn't thought about in years. Nina noticed. You okay? She asked during a grocery run. You look pale. Natalie shrugged. Long nights. She didn't mention the way the camera sometimes turned on by itself, or how she once woke up mid-stream, already whispering. The words weren't hers. She didn't even know what she'd said. But when she ended the session, her tips totaled more than $1,000. Soon, she stopped recognizing herself in the footage. Her movements looked rehearsed, too smooth, too perfect. Her expressions didn't feel real, and yet, she couldn't remember acting. It felt like watching someone imitate her, flawlessly, every glance, every gesture. One night, she walked past the mirror and caught her own face smiling. Before she did, that was the night she unplugged everything. She deleted her account, scrubbed her socials, covered her camera with duct tape. Nina came over to help her pack the studio away. I'm proud of you, she said gently. It's not healthy to live inside a screen. Natalie nodded, relieved. They boxed the lights, folded the curtains, took down the moon. But that night, Natalie woke to her room lit in red. The LED lights, the velvet curtain. Everything was back up, rearranged exactly as it had been. The camera was on, recording, and on the bed was her, sleeping, mouth slightly open, breathing steady. She ran. Nina found her 3 hours later, shivering outside a Walgreens, barefoot and crying. She brought her home. But when they stepped into the bedroom, the set was gone. No lights, no curtain, just an empty room, bare walls, a stripped bed. Natalie tried to explain. Nina listened, said nothing, just hugged her sister and let her cry. It's been 2 months. Natalie doesn't stream anymore. She teaches yoga now, part-time, sees a therapist, sleeps with the lights on. But sometimes, late at night, her phone buzzes with a notification. New upload from her softness. She doesn't click, she doesn't look, but part of her knows the stage is still there, waiting. And maybe so is the version of her that never stopped performing. Because when you become someone for long enough, someone for everyone, someone made of whispers and perfect lighting. It's hard to remember who you were before the show started, and even harder to make her come back. So if you're building something online, an identity, a voice, a stage, don't forget to leave the door open behind you. You'll need a way out. Not every role was meant to be played forever, and if you're still watching, thank you. Just promise me you're not whispering back. When you run away from the screen, you run into the wild. But the wild watches too, and sometimes it connects, even when you don't. Let's follow Damien deep into the forest. The forest Wi-Fi people think living in the woods is peaceful, that it's all sunsets through pine trees, campfire coffee, and breathing air that doesn't smell like plastic. But there's a quiet out here that gets inside you, a silence so full it starts whispering. I used to crave that, used to think being alone in the forest would help me find myself. What I didn't expect was that something else might find me first. I'm Damien Alvarez, 26, used to work at a startup in Seattle before everything imploded. Job, rent, relationship. I sold half my stuff, bought a converted Sprinter van, and hit the road. I figured I'd document the journey, make some content, nature, wellness, body positivity. Then someone suggested Onlyfans. You've got the look, they said. Lean into it. I didn't argue. Money's money, and attention is addictive when you've gone too long without anyone saying your name. So I started posting. Shirtless hikes, showers under waterfalls, morning stretches with low-cut briefs. My account blew up faster than I could keep track. I built a loyal following, mostly thirsty, mostly kind. And when I pulled into Olympic National Forest, I thought, this is perfect. Remote, gorgeous, cinematic, no signal, no distractions, just me, the trees, and a tripod. But on my second night, I noticed something strange. My phone buzzed, a notification from Onlyfans. Upload complete. I hadn't posted anything. I checked. A video was live. Title, Under the Pines. It showed me sleeping in the van, camera angle slightly elevated, like from a tree. I was shirtless, breathing softly, twitching like I was dreaming. I stared at the screen, trying to remember if I'd set a timer. Maybe I did, maybe I forgot. I deleted the clip, moved on. The next evening, I set up a fire and tried to go live. No signal. I paced around the clearing, phone raised, arm extended, praying for one bar. Then, right as the sun dropped, Wi-Fi appeared. Not LTE, not hotspot, a network, unsecured, no name, just underscore. I connected. The stream launched instantly, clear, crisp, like I was standing under a cell tower. The viewers poured in. This is your best angle yet. Love delighted tonight. Who's behind the camera? I froze, typed back, no one. I ended the stream and turned off the phone. The network disappeared 5 minutes later. That night, I met Grayson. He walked into my camp like it wasn't mine. Older guy, maybe late 40s, shaggy beard, long coat with patches. Carried a tin cup and a wooden walking stick. Nice fire, he said. You mind if I sit? I said nothing. He sat anyway. You're the streamer, right? I saw your van earlier. I tensed. You have service out here? He smiled without humor. Something like that. We talked. Well, he talked. Said he used to be an engineer. Worked on satellite systems. Said Wi-Fi was like water. It finds cracks, leaks into places it doesn't belong. You ever wonder who's watching when no one's supposed to be? He asked. I didn't answer. He nodded toward my van. You've been streaming in your sleep. I stared at him. How do you know that? He didn't respond, just stood up and walked into the trees. The next morning, I found another video uploaded. Title, He Watches Too. Same angle, same clearing, except I wasn't in the shot. The video showed the trees, my camp, my empty chair. For 2 hours, nothing moved, nothing breathed. And then, at the end, a voice whispered from somewhere off screen, "He's not yours anymore." I packed, drove 10 miles east, set up near a small lake. No Wi-Fi, no Grayson. I slept with a knife by my bed. But the next night, the same network appeared, right at dusk. I didn't connect. I shut the phone off, wrapped it in foil, buried it under the van. Still, the stream went live. When I checked the account on a backup device, the video was already up. It showed me standing beside the lake, naked, eyes closed, arms outstretched. I don't remember that. I never left the van. I watched the whole thing, waiting to spot a loop, a splice, a glitch. But there was none. Just me. And behind me, barely visible, the reflection on the water, another figure, holding a phone. I left the forest that night, didn't look back, but it followed me. Every town I stopped in, the same network appeared. Sometimes weak, sometimes full strength. Always at dusk, always for exactly 6 minutes, and every time a new video would appear. Some showed me sleeping, others, I don't even know how to describe. They were abstract, shadows moving, whispers in languages I couldn't place, faces that looked like mine but weren't quite right. One stream ended with a close-up of my van door, opening slowly. I reached out to tech support, to the platform. No one knew anything. No one could track the uploads. One rep even said, "Your content's amazing. Don't overthink the mystique." I deactivated the account that night, burned my gear, changed everything. But it didn't stop. The network still finds me. I stopped looking at the videos, stopped checking the account, but sometimes strangers approach me, at gas stations, on hiking trails. One woman whispered, "I love the Forest series, especially the one where you screamed." I never screamed. Last week I got a letter, no return address. Inside was a printed screenshot from my first night in Olympic Forest, the sleeping video, but in this version there was something written on my forehead, handwritten, in red. 3 words, "Do not wake." And now I don't know if I ever did. If you're chasing freedom online, chasing the thrill of being seen, even from the middle of nowhere, just remember this. Not every signal is meant to be found. Some connections reach deeper than satellites, and not every viewer logs in from this side of the screen. If you're still here, thanks for listening. Stay grounded, stay human, and if you ever find free Wi-Fi in the middle of the forest, don't connect. Some leave the woods, others never leave the feed. And one girl, Lena, found out what it means to keep streaming after the body stops. This is her story, and maybe your warning. Dead girl streaming. Lena said she was fine. She always said she was fine. Even when her hands trembled after streams, even when her eyes didn't quite meet mine anymore, even when she started unplugging the smoke detectors because she liked the silence. My name is Zoe, and for 2 years I shared a 1-bedroom apartment in Detroit with a girl who died on camera and kept streaming afterward. The building we lived in used to be a textile factory. Concrete bones painted over with gray, water stains on the ceiling, flickering lights in the hallway like someone was always halfway between arriving and leaving. Lena chose the place, said it had atmosphere. I just needed cheap rent. She started on Onlyfans with makeup tutorials, witchy looks, ghost stories while brushing her hair. Her voice was perfect for it, smoky, slow, like velvet over ice. Then someone asked if she'd read creepypasta in a whisper. Then someone tipped her for falling asleep in black lace. It didn't take long before she leaned into it. girl aesthetic, her profile read. Her icon was her in grayscale, eyes rolled white, mouth parted. The kind of thing that made people pause and click. She streamed mostly at night, midnight to 4 a.m. She told stories, moved like a dream, never broke character. Sometimes I watched from the other room, listening to her lull strangers into sleep or shivers. I worried, but she said it was just a performance, just pixels. No one can hurt me through a screen, she told me once. I remember thinking the danger wasn't on the other side. In her final month, Lena changed. She stopped eating. She'd wake up gasping, like drowning in the air. Her voice got softer, not weaker, just distant, like it had to travel further to reach me. I found pages of names scribbled on napkins, tucked into books, taped behind mirrors. When I asked, she shrugged. Subscribers. I like to remember who I'm talking to. One night, I woke up to the sound of her laughing. Not sweet laughter. Wet. Hollow. I walked to her door. It was cracked open. Inside, her setup glowed red. Candles. Curtains. Her body sat perfectly still in the chair, head tilted, mouth moving, but no sound came out. The screen showed her live, thousands watching, comments scrolling fast. One read, "I thought she died last week." Another, "She's back." A third, "I hear someone else." I stepped into the room. She didn't blink. I reached for her shoulder. It was cold. She was cold. By the time the paramedics arrived, she was gone. No drugs, no wounds, just gone. They ruled it sudden cardiac arrest. I didn't argue. That wasn't the part that broke me. It was what happened after. 3 nights later, her account went live. No one had access. I didn't even know her passwords. But the notification popped up at 12:03 a.m. New live stream from a dead girl whispers. I clicked out of instinct. There she was. Same chair, same lighting, same soft hum. She stared into the camera like she knew it was me. Her lips moved. I turned up the volume. There was no sound until the very end when I heard her say one word. Zoe. I dropped my phone. I tried to report the account, flagged it, blocked it, wrote to Onlyfans support. They responded with a canned reply. We cannot remove a creator's page without appropriate verification. I sent her death certificate. They closed the ticket. The account stayed up. Every night at 12:03, the stream returned. And every night it changed. Sometimes it was Lena in new clothes, outfits she never owned. Sometimes it was just her room, flickering with static, a shadow pacing in the corner. Once, it was complete darkness, and her voice whispered stories about drowning. Names kept showing up in the chat. Some I recognized from the napkins. Others felt older, wrong. Names like Eloise, Matheson, Mother Wright, and sometimes names that hadn't been typed by anyone. They appeared, then vanished. I tried deleting all her files, wiping her devices, resetting the router. The account streamed anyway. Then came the stream that ended everything. It started like the others. Silent, Lena sitting in the chair, staring. Then the camera zoomed, on its own, closer. Her eyes opened slowly, black, wet, endless. She smiled and whispered, "Let me in." Then the screen went black. My phone powered off. Wouldn't turn back on. The lights in the apartment burst, one by one, like they couldn't bear to stay on anymore. And in the dark, I heard her voice, not through a speaker, inside my ear, right next to me. I left that night, haven't been back. I sleep in motels now, with the TV on and the phone off. But sometimes I still hear the chime, that Onlyfans tone. I never open it. I don't need to. I already know what she's saying. We all think we can control our presence online, that we choose how much of ourselves we give away. But Lena gave too much. her stories, her breath, her soul. She let them in, and when her body gave out, something else kept going. If you're chasing intimacy through screens, if you're whispering into the void hoping it whispers back, be careful what listens. Some voices don't belong to the living anymore, and if you ever see her stream go live again, don't click. Please, don't let her in. 8 stories, 8 shadows, all whispered into the dark, hoping someone would listen. You did. Now the question is, what will you carry with you, and what will follow? If you made it this far, you've heard them. The voices, the cries beneath the compliments, the way a joke becomes a ritual, the way an upload becomes an invitation. Each of these 8 stories began the same way, with a decision to connect, a desire to be wanted. Some of them just wanted attention, others wanted healing, but none of them expected what came next, and neither did we. What connects all of them isn't just a platform, it's the hunger, the loneliness, the silence between messages, and the cost we pay for being watched, not just by subscribers, but by the shadows between the pixels, the watchers we never see, the ones who never tip, the ones who wait. We live in an era where streaming feels like survival, where a like feels like love, where our faces become masks we wear for strangers, hoping they'll care enough to ask who we really are. But the truth is, some stories aren't meant to be recorded. Some feelings don't belong in data. Some people should have been left alone. So if you've ever found yourself staring into a screen too long, if you've ever felt like your reflection knows more than it should, if you've ever whispered something you wish you could take back, then maybe you understand, and maybe, just maybe, you're not watching anymore. Maybe something else is watching you.